Well, yeah, I mean, there's a few times where it was kind of two things. Yeah, you'd sort of think that, and you go, well, how is this possible? You'd ask about them, and they'd explain it to you based on the physics. So, like the wormhole drive was one. I know that Paul had some of the medical questions. He had a medical consultant as well on that. But usually the process is such that the scripts go through so many iterations before they get into our hands. Actually, no. They go through a lot of iterations after they get into our hands. You got rainbow scripts. Each script iteration is a different color, right? So you get like your lines would be changing all the time. But TV is a really fast medium, right? So you just sort of write it, and it's worked on the next day, and it's on the screen in a couple of months. So sometimes the truth is stretched, far and wide. But there was also the writers were very savvy of the fact that the fans know their way around, so they couldn't just sort of do anything. Right? We once got a letter from someone that in the control room we've got these clear plastic sort of things that stick into the we call them organs. Those things. And a fan once wrote us that one of them in one of the episodes they found the Stargate was upside down. So if I was a writer for the Stargate franchise, you got to really know your stuff. So yeah, they couldn't get away from too much from what is considered the canon. I mean, and so if anything was too outrageous, it would be flagged in the process usually, sometimes by us, sometimes by them. I mean, did you guys notice any stuff that was glaringly crazy?
Exploding tumor.
Exploding tumor, yeah. Exploding tumor. Right here.
Yes. Oh, oops, sorry.
You're the one.
I always thought you said you'd like to have Radek do more off-world trips, but in the couple times you were off-world, Radek seemed really scared out of his wits.
Yeah. That's why it'd be fun to do.
Because you go all the way to another galaxy, to a foreign city, yet you're afraid to leave the city to go exploring.
You talking about Atlanta?
So what do you think, what is Radek's, reasoning behind that? Like, you go to Pegasus, but you're afraid to leave the city. You're brave enough to do one thing.
Oh, I see. What was the thing? No, I would have liked to have done that because, on the one side, you go to another, you abandon your family, and you go to the Pegasus galaxy. Would you do that? I would do it. I think it'd be fantastic to do that when you're in another environment like that. But then also, there's a part of that character, very much a scientist, kind of a homebody, kind of a stay-at-home type, kind of asocial a little bit. So I tried to sort of have that part of Radek, that he was a bit socially uncomfortable, that he was a bit sort of nervous and anxious about going sort of outside. So it was a combination of things. He was a pure scientist in terms of the curiosity, but had those hang-ups about other things. And I would have liked to have sort of seen that go that way, about sort of exploring that kind of thing. Be fun to do. Right here.
You're talking about how Braddock's character was, always in preparation class. Was there anything that they don't ask you to do that you were like, I'm not going to be doing that, or anything they asked you to say?
I didn't get asked. It was in the script. It's kind of like a tennis game with you and the writers. At first, they write kind of in broad strokes, then they hire you, then they write for you. And then as you sort of, like Martin Giro, I always thought he had really good dialogue. His scripts were a lot of fun. They were really, as actually all of them were really good. As people forget their names, Damien and who's that other guy? Yeah. There were just really, it becomes, as it evolved, as it came to season 2, season 3. And when you go back to watch the beginning of season 1, you notice that the characters are all kind of a couple of episodes clunky as it sort of gets going. And that's just the nature of the relationship between the actor and the writer. There was very few times that I would actually go and talk to them about, I would like this or I would like that, and they never came down and say, well, what do you think of this? It was just sort of in the script, right? The one time for quarantine was funny. There's a sequence in quarantine where I'm going through these heating ducts up in the thing. And I didn't know that that's what was going to be happening in this episode, and they say that they need me to come in for a fitting. And I thought, oh, okay, you're going to fit my blue shirt on? It's the only thing I wear. Well, the fitting ended up being that they were tailor-making the duct for me, for my son. So they're coming up and they're measuring me, and I'm going, what the hell's going on? And they go, well, there's going to be this ducting that you're crawling through. I'm like, oh. And on the day, it was pretty funny because it was the claustrophobic look of it. It was a huge open studio, nothing anywhere except for 2 ladders and this tube like on top of it. And everybody around, going around, and then climb up the ladder, and you have to go into this thing that was literally made just so that I could fit in it. Yeah. So stuff like that.